Good day, dear students. In this particular module 3, we have the topic of centroid and moment of inertia. This topic will cover these two main parameters. In this centroid and moment of inertia, the introduction, I hope it is familiar to you in your classes, class 11, 12. So we will see here the centroid of simple figures from the first principle, that is principle of moment, then centroid of composite sections, center of gravity and its implication, area moment of inertia, then its definition, moment of inertia of plane sections from the first principle, then theorems of moment of inertia of standard sections and composite sections, moment of inertia of circular plate, cylinder, cone, sphere, hook, etc. We are going to cover in this particular module. So, in this module, as it is related to the center of gravity, all of you are aware that the meaning is that center of gravity is the point through which the whole weight of the body acts irrespective of its position, and that is what it is known as the center of gravity. Whereas the centroid, when we talk about the centroid, the plane figures like triangles, circles, here you can see, etc., all these has only areas and it doesn't have any mass. So center of this such area of this or such figures, it is known as the centroid. So here you can see that these are the points for this simple plane figure, that where the area is supposed to be concentrated. Now for finding out this point, there are the different methods. It is the methods for finding out the center of gravity. We can either find it by the geometric consideration, which that method is a bit tedious and cumbersome. By second method, we can find out it by moments. This is the method, dear students, which we are trying to apply for uh, our subject purpose. And then third one is by considering the graphical method. So here we are considering the method by the moments, and we will see is how we can find it out. These common figures you can see that an ECG we are well familiar that how it is located. Similarly, we can determine the centroid of volume as a point where the entire volume is concentrated. Keep it in mind, student, we are doing it analysis with the one dimensional, two dimensional and three dimensional. According to that, for one dimensional only length will be the parameter, for two dimensional it will area will be the parameter, and for 3D it will be the volume. So for the properties of this line surfaces and physical bodies, we have seen that the term centroid is purely related to any geometric figure which does not involve the property of mass and or the weight. When we consider the effect of mass density, center of mass appears. At the point of center of mass, the entire mass of any line or area or volume remains concentrated. That is what I was telling, that 1D, 2D and 3D, it is related to that area and volume and the length. Similarly here, for the center of mass, the entire mass of any line, area or volume remains concentrated. CG is related, that is center of gravity is related to the effect of weight density. For normal material body, center of mass and CG is a unique point, but if the physical body is very large and are at very high altitude, the center of mass and CG are at the different points. So we will see it in the coming classes that how it varies. Now, as we have seen that different methods are there, we can find out the CG by the graphical consideration, by the geometrical consideration, or by the moments. So let us see that how we can find out the CG by the mass moments. So here, what is the idea is basically the any geometric figure, it is divided into small particles, and then the mass of the each individual particle is considered, and then it is summation is done from the reference axis. For example, we have a body here of mass m and whose CG has to be find out. Now dividing this body into the different strips are there even though, but we are considering when it is infinitesimally small, then it is the as a mass a particle we are considering, and that since it is a particle, then it is having the coordinates x and y, and similarly for the different particles we can have the uh, coordinates x1 y1 x2 y2 like that. So for the different points different coordinates are there. So when we are considering each particle or each strip from the reference axis, then it is having its own location, that is the coordinates, and the its own mass, right? Let us denote it 1 2 3 like that. So when we get the uh, all these masses and the distances from the reference axis, then we can apply the principle of movement, right? I hope you remember the principle of movement, Varignon's principle, that is the summation of the resultant is equal to the summation of its component. Now putting the analogy with that, here we have the summation of the whole mass, that is capital M, and the distance, that x is its CG, right, from the reference axis, is equal to the m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 and so on. So here what is m1? M1 is the distance of this particular particle or strip, and the x1 is the distance from the reference axis, and so on for the x2 for the second strip and the third strip. So when we sum it, all these together, then we get the summation of all these combined strip which forms this particular shape. And to get the value of this particular CG at the point, we get its coordinate as in terms of x and y. So generally it is denoted by x bar and y bar. So when we try to write down this equation by taking out x at one side, what we get here, that x bar is equal to summation of mx divided by this m, by taking this m at the another side. Similarly, y bar we can get at summation of m into y all the distances y1, y2, y3 from the reference axis x, and m is the summation of all the moments. So in this way we get the value of this particular CG of the shape, that in terms of x bar and y bar. So it is very important, dear students, that how we are choosing our reference axis. For calculating the value of x bar, our vertical y-axis is the reference axis. Similarly, while calculating the value of y bar, our x-axis will be the reference axis. So here the CG of the body is always calculated with reference to some assumed axis, that is known as the axis of reference or reference axis. So for CG of the plane figures, we have seen that for the plane figure area is involved, and that's why we have the x bar is equal to a1 x1 plus a2 x3 a2 x2 plus a3 x3 etc. Similarly for y bar we have the a1 y1 plus a2 y2 plus a3 y3 and divided by the summation of the all the sub areas. Now, this becomes interesting when we get the symmetrical section. We often observe in the real life, dear students, that the different sections like I sections, T sections, these are the symmetrical sections. And when these are symmetrical about the x-x axis or y-y axis, in that case, calculation of the CG becomes very simplified. How it becomes, we will see it in the couple of problems coming next. But it is in general that when suppose it is symmetrical about the x-axis, then only we have to find out the value of x bar. Similarly, when it is symmetrical about the y-axis, we have to find out the value of y bar with the reference of the x-axis. So in this way, we can locate the CG of the symmetrical section in the very quick steps. Now here let us try to find out the centroid of a uniform wire of length L. Now when we are saying that uniform wire of length L, and we are neglecting its cross-sectional area, then definitely it becomes the problem of one dimension. So the centroid of a wire or pipe or a rod of constant cross section corresponds to the center of the length. So it is obvious that this particular length is the only one dimension, and the middle point of that will be the CG, since it is the uniform one that we can look at even by the visual by seeing it visually. However, mathematically how to express it, let us see it. And we know that the value of x bar is given by summation of x into dl. Now keep it in mind, dear students, in the main formula we have written for the area. Now since here is the only one entity dimension, so let us replace that area by the length. And here summation of all area is replaced by the summation of length. Similarly, here y bar the formula modifies as sigma y dl upon sigma dl. So when the x-axis is so chosen that it passes through the center of the wire and along its length, so we definitely have y bar is 0. Means we are considering this particular length that is symmetrical about the x-axis. Same exercise you can do by considering it symmetrical about the y-axis. In that case, our x bar is equal to 0. So here we are considering by the symmetrical about x-axis. So definitely we will get the equation as sigma x into dl is equal to integration over the total length from 0 to L x dx. And by solving the integration and putting the limits, we get it as L square by 2. Now similarly for the formula sigma dl is over the entire length from 0 to L, we get the length as capital L, and replacing those value of the sigma x dl divided by sigma dl into the main formula, we get it as L square by 2 divided by L, and simplifying that LL will get cancelled, and we get the CG of this particular wire is at the length half of its length. Similarly, when we have a planar section, let us see the plane section, that is a T section, is having dimension 100 mm by 150 mm by 30 mm. Let us try to find out the CG of the T section. So here is the T section, dear students. We have to draw the diagram for that. So we have the T section like this: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Now when we considering this whole figure, we get a T section. But when we draw a horizontal line through that, what we see that we get the two different parts, that is two rectangles, one rectangle 1 and rectangle 2. And when we consider those rectangles separately, then we get the CG of those rectangle very easily, because simple plain rectangle, and we can look at the CG by taking the half of its both the sides, and we can locate it. So here, first of all, considering the area ABCH, let us show it as a area 1, that is section 1, and locating the physically its CG as point uh, here highlighted with red. So what we get here, A1 is the area of this particular flange, and that is rectangle, that is 30 into 100. Similarly, y1, the value of y1 is the, now this is very important, students, that how we are calculating y1. Now it is obvious that our first of all the T section is symmetrical about y-axis. So we have to calculate the value of y bar only. Now y bar will be the summation of this y1 and y2, right, in the formula in this way. So y1 bar and y2 bar. So here what we get here for this section 1, the y1 is the distance of this CG of this particular rectangular part from the reference axis as x. Very important here to note down that where we are locating our reference axis. If we locate it correctly and take the distances correctly from the reference axis, then we get the CG in very easy and quick step. Similarly, now we in this particular part A, you can part 1, we can see that y1 is the distance, and how to get the distance, this y1 distance from the geometry you can easily find out. Total distance is 150, and deducting this 30 we get this much distance as 120, right? Or you can directly add this 150 and by dividing 150 and deducting this 15, that is 30 by 2 from that. So we get the distance as y1 as 135 or 120 plus 30 by 2, whatever you find it convenient you can do, and we get the value of y1 as 135. Similarly, when for the area we consider the next area, that is DEFG. For this vertical rectangle, again we have the CG. Physically we can locate it here, denoting it with area 2. And we can see that the CG is half of this particular length, that is 120 by 2, that is 60. And if we replace all this value of a1 y1 and a2 y2 by calculating those values and putting it in the formula, we get the value of y bar as 94.1. That is, from this reference axis x on this particular symmetrical line at the distance of 94.1 the CG lies. So that is about the T section, dear students. Similarly, for the another section which is suppose symmetrical about the x axis, let us see how we can find it out. So here a channel section is given such as 100 by 50 by 15. So it's this rectangle is of 50 by 15. Similarly, this vertical rectangle is of the width 15 and its length is, you can easily calculate it by deducting it from 100, this 15 and 15. And similarly this lower rectangle. So let us draw the diagram again and show clearly the CG of each individual part and its distance of CG from the reference axis. Now we are choosing this y as a reference axis, student. Now by this time it is clear to you that when it is symmetrical about the x axis, our y axis is the reference axis. Similarly, when the particular figure is symmetrical about the y axis, then our x axis is the reference axis. So now this, since it is symmetrical about the y axis, let us choose this vertical y axis as an axis of symmetry, and calculating the area for this particular part 1, 2 and 3, what we get here, area for the part 1 and the value of the x1 from this reference axis. Similarly, for this second area, the area of that particular part, right, and the distance of x2 from this reference axis, right. Similarly, for the part 3, we have again here the area, this is a3 and x3, and by calculating the area of this same a3 and x3 and replacing all this CG in the particular formula, that is x bar is equal to a1 x1 plus a2 x2 plus a3 x3 divided by the summation of the area, we get the value of the x bar as 17.8 millimeter. So on this axis of symmetry, dear students, from the distance of this reference axis at a distance of 17.8 millimeter, the CG is lying. So this is about the CG of a plane figure which are symmetrical about a particular axis. So in today's class, we have seen that how in general the uh, idea of the centroid is there for the plane figure and how it is applied to calculate the center of gravity by dividing into the small areas and by integrating it together. So in this particular topic, we have seen that when the plane figure is symmetrical about x-axis, then how to calculate its CG, and when it is symmetrical about y-axis, how to calculate its CG. In both the cases, here it is one point is important, that how you are dividing the total area into the simple areas by subdividing it, and how you are choosing the reference axis. Once we have done it very wisely, then next part is very simple. Just we have to find out the area and we have to calculate the distances by seeing the geometry of the figure, and then we have to put it in the formula. But the origin of the formula, we need to keep it in mind that it is a integration of the small particle which have the its particular location and the distance from the reference axis. So this is what for this particular class student. See you in the next class. Till then, take care. Goodbye.